Hi everyone, I'm Rubinho for What is OT, and today I want to try to help you teach online more effectively and confidently. Because of the restrictions related to the coronavirus, a lot of teachers are having to transition from face-to-face to online lessons overnight, and we know that that can be very challenging. It's beautiful to see the teaching community getting together in moments like this and helping each other out, and with the What is OT team, also known as Andrea and me, we also want to be part of that. So we're sharing with you in the following weeks a couple of videos in which we'll talk about digital tools that can help you keep teaching in times of social distancing. Hopefully, the skills and the knowledge we all develop can also be used later on when things get back to normal. So we'll be talking about a number of digital tools here in our YouTube channel, but we're also planning to have some free webinars, so make sure you subscribe and hit the bell to receive notifications of all the updates. You can also join us on all social media with the handle WhatIsELT. And if you know any other teachers who are having to transition to online lessons, share this video with them so we can all help each other. Today we're answering the question, what is Google Classroom? And sharing our tips on how to organize students' work, assign tasks, share materials, and promote interaction online. Let's go? Relax, 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 relax. Google Classroom is one of the most popular free online tools for teachers. It's basically a simple LMS or learning management system. Once you create a group and invite your students, you can use this online environment for a number of actions. You can make announcements to your group of students, you can create tasks and assignments to be done by learners, you can share different sorts of materials, you can create online quizzes, and you can even monitor students' work in progress. One of the positive features of Google Classroom is that it integrates really well with other popular Google tools, such as Google Docs, Google Forms, and Google Drive. In fact, when you create your group in Google Classroom, it automatically generates a Google Drive folder where all the materials that you share with your students are going to be stored. One of the disadvantages I see is that depending on the smartphone that your students are using, they might have to download not only the Google Classroom app, but also apps for all the other Google tools. However, if your students are working from a desktop or a laptop, they probably won't have to download any software. You don't really need to be a tech expert in order to use Google Classroom. The navigation is quite simple and the functions are very straightforward, so you're probably going to learn how to use it more quickly than you would with other similar tools. If you feel that you need some guidance to set up your account and use the basic features, we're going to include in the description a link to a very useful tutorial. And now that we've covered the basics, let's look at our tips to help make your use of Google Classroom more effective. Tip number 1, use Google Classroom as your central hub. The fact that Google Classroom allows you to easily share links to websites, YouTube videos, documents, etc. makes it an ideal tool in order for you to centralize your online work. It can become kind of a meeting point, a place where your students go at the beginning of the lesson and find out what that day's activities are, as well as find the link to, for example, an online meeting or web conference. Classroom is also very helpful for those students who cannot be connected at the same time as the others for some reason, and also for you to assign asynchronous work, that is, work that students can do at their own time, at their own pace, without all the group having to be connected at the same time. Hub. Central hub. 2. Create a system to organize all of the online work. Teaching online can be tricky in the sense that you're probably going to be using materials and different sources with your group. That means that it can become hard for students to revise what they've studied and follow up on the work. You can help your students and yourself be a little bit more organized by using topics. In the Classroom tab, you have the option of Create Topic. And this can be extremely useful to help you and your student find exactly what you're looking for and make the whole experience more user-friendly. When you're creating an activity, just click on Create, include all the necessary information and select the topic. Then all the activities that are part of the same group will be displayed together. I personally like to organize my materials and activities in one of 2 ways. The first is according to date. You can create topics for each day of lessons and then include all the activities done on that day under that topic. This is useful from the teacher's perspective because it helps us plan and organize the lessons to come. The second is by topic or the theme of the lesson. You can create categories that correspond to the topic of specific lessons. From the student's perspective, this is especially helpful when they want to revisit what they studied earlier in the course, since we tend to remember the topic we talked about, but not necessarily when we studied them. Let's look at... Tip number 3, reuse materials with other groups. We often teach a number of groups at the same level, and it's not uncommon for us to reuse the materials from one group with the other. Google Classroom allows us to do just that, which can help us reduce the time we spend planning lessons and consequently reduce the workload. If you have created an activity for one group and want to reuse it with another one, all you have to do is click on Create. Then select Reuse and choose the course where the material was first published. A list of all the assignments, quizzes and materials in that course will appear. Select the one you want, make any changes that are necessary, like dates and topic, and voila, activity reused. Tip number 4, make sure that instructions are clear. If you've taken the CELTAS or TESOL or any other training course, I'm sure your trainers went on and on about the importance of delivering clear instructions, am I right? Well, instructions for online work, especially if you want your students to do activities on their own, have to be even clearer. Use imperatives and simple sentences to ensure that instructions are short and straight to the point. And avoid long and complicated instructions, as your students might get confused when working on their own and not have anyone to help them understand what they need to do. Tip number 5, combine Google Classroom and web conferencing tools. If your group is used to having face-to-face meetings and is now transitioning to having online lessons, they might not be used to that format. Being able to talk to you, the teacher, and their classmates might be very important to them. That's when web conferencing tools like Google Hangouts, Skype, Zoom, etc. can be very helpful. They can give students this sense of all being together in the same room, even though they are miles apart. Videos on how to use those tools more effectively are coming, so make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't yet. On Google Classroom, you can publish the link to the online meeting you're planning. Just create an announcement or a material with the correct link and students can just log on, click on it and join in the discussion. During the online meeting, you can also ask your students to go to Google Classroom to look at the materials you published or the activities you shared. Tip number 6, plan ahead. Creating and posting activities on Google Classroom is fairly simple, but trying to do that at the same time as the online meeting is going on can be a real nightmare. You may have to find the correct link to the file, upload it, write instructions, all of that at the same time as you're interacting with the students online. Google Classroom allows you to prepare the activities and tasks beforehand and schedule a specific moment for them to be published, let's say the beginning of the lesson. Or you can also save it as a draft and with just a few clicks published at the right moment. All you have to do is to create the activity or the post in which you share the material beforehand. Include all the necessary links and files and then click on Save Draft. The activity will be there, visible only to you. When you want students to have access to it, just select Edit and Publish. Like every other technological tool, it may take a while for us to get the hang of it, but once we do, it becomes second nature. So give it a try and don't give up too soon. If you already use Google Classroom, make sure you use the comment section below to share your own tips on how to use it more effectively. And remember to wash your hands and follow the advice of specialists and the government in your area. Stay healthy. See you next time. That's when web Zoom, Skype, Google Hangouts